Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of Ranking the Albums. You know it's a metal band because I got the metal trio together here alongside me, of course, from Fate's Warning and currently with Withering Scorn, as well as Liege Lord. Mr. Joe DiBiase is here with us today.
Good morning.
Good morning from New Jersey, Rich Catino,
Morning, guys.
and our Southerner for today, Mr. John Gaffney is here from Florida. What's going on, gentlemen?
Hey Pete, good to be here. Always
Yeah,
talking some metal,
yeah, absolutely.
underground 80s metal.
Yeah.
Underground 80s metal. We got more coming after this. We'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the episode. But today we're going to talk about a band, Obsession, who kind of burst on the scene in the early 80s. Band from Connecticut, from Joe's neck of the woods. Joe's very familiar with the guys in Obsession. And a band that kind of flew under the radar a little bit. Their first couple albums were on Enigma Records. I remember hearing about them back in the day, but I didn't really listen to them then. Although their lead singer, Mike Vescera, made quite a name for himself. He went and joined Loudness for a number of years, a number of albums, and then he also uh, sang with Yngwie Malmsteen for a few years as well. Yeah, so
Great
he's on a
album,
lot
by
of
the
the.
way.
Yeah, one of those guys I think that kind of appeared on some albums that you might be familiar with, but maybe the name just didn't really ring a bell. So
Yeah, Magnum Opus and Seven Sign. Great
yeah,
albums.
yeah, absolutely. And those Loudness albums are pretty killer too. So
Yeah.
so yeah, great singer, great band. Four full-length studio albums and one EP, the debut EP. We're going to include the EP today because it's pretty, it's very popular and it's pretty impactful. And I think it's worthy of being here, even though it is a little on the short side. So we're going to rank them as we like them. So we'll go five trips round here. We'll start with Joe with your number five, and we'll work our way around.
Okay. First of all, let me say this. I really enjoyed this exercise because I hadn't listened to Obsession and I can't tell you how long. So I really enjoyed going back and listening to the first three albums, which I had, and and I'd never, be honest with you, never really paid too much attention to the last two they put out. So it was a fun exercise. And as opposed to when we did the Malice rankings. After I did the Malice one, I'm thinking, I guess I didn't like Malice as much as I thought I did. Didn't age as well to me as I thought it would. Conversely, well, the Obsession I think really aged well all the way around. I really enjoyed listening. So that said, my first, so number five, and I don't have the physical copy, it's going to be Order of Chaos, the last album they did, 2012, I believe. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, so I put this on. I was immediately hit by how great the production is. Excellent production on this record compared to some of their older stuff, and the musicianship excellent. I know this is not the original band except for Mike, but the cast of guys he put together for this album, excellent musicians. All from Connecticut. I know all the guys. John, the guitar player, owns a music guitar shop here where I live in Milford, so I know him. And
Oh, really?
Chris McCarville and BJ Zampa, who are the rhythm section, are both local guys who I've known forever. And an interesting note on those two guys, they are currently the rhythm section in Dokken.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah. And I want to say that didn't both of them play on a couple House of Lords records too?
Yes, yeah, BJ did. I know. I think Chris might have as well, but I know BJ plays with House of Lords. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, great musicianship, great production. Um, as far as the style of music, I wasn't. I was a little surprised. They went from when I used to listen to them back in the day, more traditional metal. They kind of veered off into a little bit of a Euro power metal type direction, which I'm not a huge. It's not really my thing. I'm not a huge Euro power metal guy. Halloween, that type of thing. But so, and I didn't find a lot of the songs like memorable. I listened to three or four times, and it's like I couldn't go back and remember, the choruses and stuff. But it's great musicianship, great production. Some of the songs are great. It's not really my thing stylistically, so therefore it's number five.
Fair enough. Some points I think we'll hear from some of the rest of us. Rich, you're number five.
Same one, Order of Chaos. I have a lot of the same thoughts that Joe had too. It's got the Euro power metal thing happening, which is fine. I like Mike's voice. Like I said before, he was on those two great Yngwie records. And like you said, Loudness too. Those are really cool. So I like him as a singer. Good production too. I noticed that. And the 5 songs that I put down that I more favored was Cold Day in Hell. It's got that Yngwie and Pelletieri thing going on with the dueling guitars. It's got that power metal influence. The title track, very up tempo. License to Kill. It's got the melodic guitar leads on it. Act of God, the riff in that steadfast tempo with the vocal harmonies too. And Forbidden Desire, I thought was cool. The guitar leads have like a dark, ominous type of feel to them. So yeah, I think actually when I was listening to the 5 records again, I wrote down there's like a consistency. Like a lot of bands that come back after a long hiatus from this traditional metal sound, they kind of don't have the same sound. It gets more modern, or it's too heavy, or it's too aggressive or something. I think Obsession is pretty consistent from the first EP up to the latest one. I don't know how you guys feel, but there's a consistent musical style with a lot of the guitars, the harmonies, the aggression, a little bit of speed metal thrown in sometimes.
Yep.
There's still nice layers of melody and Mike's vocal with the backing harmonies going on. So I think you can listen to Methods to Madness and then Methods of Madness, and then you can listen to Order of Chaos, and it sounds like, I think, the same band.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound much different, right?
You both bring up some really good points. Joe mentions that their sound is veered a little bit towards that Euro power metal thing.
Mm-hmm.
But Rich, talks about the consistency across the catalog. I would think when I was like listening to all this stuff and putting my thoughts in place, I was reminded of like the Riot catalog.
Yes.
Whereas I think that the direction that Obsession has kind of gone in on the 2 more recent albums are kind of a little bit similar to where Riot went, like
kind of like Thundersteel going forward.
100%. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So cool. All right. So we got Order of Chaos coming in at number 5 for 2 of us. John, are you going to stray from that or?
Nope, it's going to be a three-peat here. We'll see if we go all across the board with Order of Chaos. Like Joe, I was not familiar with their 2000s era albums, the last 2 records. And as we've done this a few times now with bands like this, bands that release a few records in the 80s, they disappear for a while. Maybe they release an album in the 90s, one in the 2000s. There always seems to be that one of those records. It's just one of 2 things. If the album came out like early 90s, it might be like a stab at the MTV glam hair thing. If the album came out, or if it came out in the mid late 90s or early 2000s, it could be some grunge or new metal. You never know. So when was not at all familiar with the last 2 records, in my mind I was thinking, okay, which one of these is going to be doesn't sound anything like any of the rest of their catalogs. And like Rich said, it doesn't. There's a consistency to
John, you know what though? Before you go on, sorry, you mentioned doing the glam thing maybe in the early 90s. When he was in Loudness, he actually did that a little bit. You noticed their sound got a little kind of glammy on those 2 records.
Yeah.
Which is good. I still enjoyed it. I'm not saying it's bad, but that's a good point.
When we've done these other like more obscure 80s metal blade bands and stuff like that, it always seems like there's one record where you can really sense them trying to have a song that could be on MTV or something like that. But I don't really feel that with their catalog. That said, Order of Chaos comes in last for me. And I think it's because I forget who said it, maybe it was Joe that said the production. I agree, the production is a good modern production, but there's not enough variety within the songs. And what I mean by that is the songs kind of start at one tempo. They just sort of keep going at that tempo. There's not enough maybe tempo shifts or mood shifts. And when it comes to modern production, I mean, this is a whole nother type. Anybody who watches my channel knows I rant about this a lot. With modern production, where it's obvious that they were probably playing to a click track and everything like that, it gets fatiguing when you're listening to these records and you're 7, 8 songs in. And when there's not enough variety within the songs or amongst the songs, it just starts to get a little fatiguing. That said, there's still some good stuff on here. Order of Chaos, I thought had a killer opening riff. Forbidden Desire, that one also had a cool dark riff. When Smoke Clears, I like the picked clean guitars. The verse melody was great. Rich, I'm glad you mentioned that about Cold Day in Hell, because in my notes too, I had an Yngwie classical sounding opening riff. That's my note, and I wasn't sure if it was because if there's a Steeler song, I believe, called Cold Day
Yes.
in Hell. So I wasn't sure
Right.
if that was subliminally making me think of Yngwie. So I'm glad you mentioned that riff,
That's a great
Rich.
record, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Act of God, I like the main riff in that one. I thought there were some cool harmonies on the bridge part, and Mercy Killing was an appreciated, slow, heavier one because again, I kind of felt like the record was a little bit fatiguing and I wanted a little bit more variety. But yeah, Order of Chaos, number 5 for me.
It's also my number five. So we are all in sync here. I don't dislike this album at all. I think it's quite good. I agree with everything that's been said. I think the production is quite good. The Sarah sounds great. All these years later, right? His voice is held up very, very well. There's loads and loads of great riffs and blazing leads on here. A lot of the songs that have already been mentioned, I really like Cold Day in Hell. I put down Cold Day in Hell rips, and I love the Scorching Twin leads. It's great. License to
Yeah.
Kill, kind of plodding, but I like the chugging nature of it. And more great guitar leads. Twist of the Knife is really good. The title track was really good. I like when this band does these kind of slower, more melodic, atmospheric numbers.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Smoke Clears is really good. And I like when Mike kind of slows things down because he's a great screamer and does that kind of histrionic stuff, but he also does the opposite end of the spectrum really, really good. I think to kind of go back to what Joe was saying in the beginning, there's nothing bad on here. I find though that, and I think John, you also hinted at this, there's a lot of songs, not a lot of variety. And after a while, some of these tracks aren't quite as memorable as songs from the other albums. They're good. There's really nothing to complain about. Guitars are great, vocals are great. It's good metal fare. I just don't find this stuff as memorable as some of the great songs from the other albums. That being said, it's still quite good. And if you are either new to this catalog or maybe haven't listened to these later albums, don't sleep on this record. It's actually pretty damn good. But to me, it's like number five by default, but it's not bad by any means.
Yeah.
So that's my number five. So we're all now we'll see where we go from here. Back to you for number four.
All right, I'm going chronologically backwards here. So number 4 for me is going to be Carnival of Lies, which again, nothing wrong with this record. It sounds great. The
Cool
guitar
album
playing,
cover too.
very cool album cover. The guitar playing is fantastic. I mean, they're really great guitar players. So again, nothing to complain about. A lot of the same things I said about Order of Chaos. I do think there's some better songs. I really like the mid-paced songs on here, like In for the Kill, Imagining, both really good mid-paced songs. Pure Evil, really, really good heavy song. The whole album to me is like very chorus heavy. I don't know if you noticed that. Very chorus oriented. Which is fine, and you can tell they're kind of not as much as Order of Chaos, but they're kind of going towards that Euro power metal thing. They're starting to go that way. It must be maybe the new members that was more of their background or something, but it's not as blatant as Order of Chaos. But again, great record, great musicianship, great production. Again, they're not as memorable as Pete was just saying as I think on the first 3 releases, but again, no real complaints. I was surprised, really, how it's held up well after all these years, and so it's by default it's number 4. Again, no complaints, but that's where it sits.
And by the way, I just want to mention too, for folks maybe looking to go out and get some of these now, Inner Wound Recordings reissued the entire catalog. They got signed to that label, I think, for the last album, and they
You mean
went
all 5 are reissued by them?
all five, all mine are on Inner Wound.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, so you can get them fairly inexpensively. So if you're looking to get the catalog, get those. They're all, I believe, remastered and whatnot. So it's a good deal. So anyway, Rich, over to you.
all right. Also, Carnival of Lies. I think this one is maybe a little more melodic. You guys hear that?
Yes.
Some parts, a little more variety. Like I wrote down Imagining, that chorus, melodic chorus, and what else? In for the Kill too.
Yeah.
Slower, mid-pace, more melodic too. I wrote down Smoking Gun. I liked the title track has a lot of that Yngwie shredding and the harmonies happening too. Probably because a few years earlier he was in Yngwie, so part of brought a little bit of that sound in there, right? Because the earlier records there's shredding, but not like this type that you hear in this record,
Yeah, I
right?
mean these two guys, John Bruno and Scott Boland, they're tremendous guitar players.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean the first three records too is they're shredding too, but
Oh yeah, yeah.
this feels more Yngwie and neoclassical to me sometimes.
Yeah. Plus, it helps too, Rich, and we've hinted at it. I think they have much better production on these two most recent albums. So the guitars just sound massive on them. So it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. But I don't think this is as heavy sounding as Order of Chaos. I think that's a heavier sound, and this record is not as heavy, right?
I agree.
But still the riffs are still very, in the front. You can really hear them. They're not pulled back or anything in the mix. What else? And Playing Dead kind of reminded me of like Primal Fear. A little bit of that Euro Primal Fear power metal happening.
Yep.
So those are the 5 songs I really liked on this record. So this one's my 4.
cool.
And you know what, too, though? I
Yeah.
think this record's a little long. Forgot to say that. I
Oh,
think
yes, yes.
12 songs on it with 2 bonus tracks. You could take off maybe 3, and it'll be a little more solid.
And did we really need the remake of Martial Law?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, no.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
It is a little long. It's a good point. Glad you brought that up. John, are you going to deviate?
Yeah, nope. We're 3. We're gonna see if we're gonna sweep the board here for the
Right.
first
I think after this one, it'll
2,
think.
3. Yeah, that's when I think we're gonna
Maybe a
get the
shuffle.
variety. But I actually didn't think the production is as good on, and you guys have sort of hinted at this. It's not. I didn't feel it was as good as their most recent Order of Chaos. I thought the guitar sounded a little bit thin or something to me. I didn't quite like the guitar sound as much. So I went back and forth if this one should be number 5 or number 4, but this got number 4 for me just because I thought the songs were better and there was a little bit more variety, something I complained about with my number 5 pick. Uh, I liked Smoking Gun. I thought that was a cool, fast traditional metal opener, catchy chorus. In for the Kill. I loved the slower chugging vibe. Playing Dead, I thought had a pretty cool Sabotage-like main riff. I'm wondering if you guys heard this, that I sort of sense sometimes with the guitarist, like in Imagining, Rich, I think you mentioned Imagining.
Yeah.
It reminded me a little bit of like Heavier Dawkins. Like I hear sort of a George Lynch guitar influence in it. Do you hear that? And I also every now and then hear
Yep.
a Jakey Lee Ultimate Sin like era Jakey Lee
Yes.
guitar influence to it. So I hear that in Imagining, and I also hear that in Pure Evil. Like the main riff in that really gave me a Mr. Scary main riff type of vibe.
I did write Docking down in my notes as well.
Did you? Yeah,
Like
I
that.
heard that right away. I was like, okay, this really sounds like, he's influenced by kind of that heavier Dokken sound. Guilty as Charged, I thought was a cool, slower, dark, moody one with a great chorus. I agree it's too long. We don't need the, not quite sure why that remaking old songs. I never liked that idea. But yeah, it comes in at number 4. Still not a bad record. Lots of good songs on it, but it comes in a little bit higher because I just think the songs are a little bit better.
I agree. Something Joe mentioned, the choruses, there's an emphasis on choruses on this album. I think that to me, this record is more memorable than Order of Chaos simply because the choruses just jump out at you. And I think Sarah's sounding great on here. When he's doing the high pitched wailing, he's amazing. When he's doing the more kind of mid-rangey stuff, it's really good. I like the production on this album. It's not as massive, I think, as Order of Chaos, so I still think it's really good. But there's some really good tracks on here. In for the Kill is mentioned. Playing Dead, Rich mentioned Primal Fear. I also hear more modern Judas Priest, which is not all that dissimilar from Primal Fear. So we were kind of in the same pathway there. I love Pure Evil. I Don't Belong is really, really good. Yeah, Written in Blood is kind of generic for me, but it's not really bad. Again, I don't really have anything bad to say about it. There's some great lead guitar work on this album. The riffs are really cool. The vocals are great. It's a little long. Don't need the remake of the Marshall Plan, but all in all, or Martial Law, sorry. All in all, it's really good. And again, I want to reiterate, if you haven't listened to this band since the 80s, go check these albums out because there's plenty of good stuff on there. So, all right, now I think is where it's going to get interesting here. So now we're going to go to the three original releases. So, Joe, what do you have at number three?
Hold on a second, guys. Before you go on, does anybody know if they're active? Do they tour? Do they do European festivals? Anything like that?
They played a local show here in Connecticut the year before last. I think it was close to the lineup on the last record they did. I think there was a couple different changes, but
So they're
yeah,
just doing
I don't
select
think
shows,
they're
I guess?
active, but they do the occasional
Festival.
show, in Connecticut.
I wonder if they played at Hell's Heroes at all in the last couple of years.
That's a good call. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe so, but
No, I mean they'd be perfect for that festival.
yeah, I know
Yeah.
Mike lives in Nashville now,
Okay.
and a lot of the guys that had filled in. Say, I think most of them still live in Connecticut, but the drummer and bass player are both in Dokken now in House of Lords. So I don't think they're not together, like but they do the occasional show.
Okay. All right, Joe, what do you got for number three?
All right, I'm continuing my trend of going in reverse chronological order. First of all, you got the cover handy?
I do. If you mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the worst album covers
Yeah,
I've ever seen. That's
it
just
looks like the guy from Back to the Future, mad scientist from Back
Yes.
to the Future, right? Is that him?
Back to the Future meets Reanimator, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Reanimator.
bad, just bad. But anyway, luckily the album itself is much better. The first thing I noticed listening to this, and I heard this back in the day. I never engrossed myself in it completely. The first thing I noticed in listening to it is a heavy Queensryche influence. A lot of it reminded me of The Warning, which had just come out a year or two before. So I think they had studied that album a little bit, and very Queensryche influence. A lot of the clean guitar intros, slower clean guitar intros, kind of remind me like Take Hold of the Flame and that type of thing. But I think it's a great album. Production's good. Again, the guitar playing is great. Bruce Vitale was a great guitar player. Some of the highlights song-wise, Bang Up Till They Bleed was a Connecticut classic. We all used to love that when they played that live. Great tune. Run to the Light was a good tune. Tomorrow Hides No Lies I think was an epic closer for the album. Kind of like had a Y&T vibe, if you ask me. A little bit there, but I wish I can read my notes better. But it's a great record, very Queensryche influenced. It's weird listening to these albums in a different perspective now from when I first heard them, but I think it aged well again. And I don't like they're not as traditional metal, new wave of British heavy metal style as the first two releases, but I don't. A band's got to evolve, and move forward. It can't make the same album, every time. So I admire and I like the way they evolved. And it's a great record, but I'm going to keep it at number 3 for me.
And I do want to mention all three of their first releases produced by Brian Keane on Enigma Records. So they did have the same producer for each album, although I would argue that all three sound a little bit different from each other.
Yeah. Production wise, this is definitely more modern sounding than
Yeah, of the three, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
My EP is on Metal Blade. Was it reissued on?
Yeah, you know what? Back in the day, Metal Blade and Enigma were kind of one. They had a weird partnership, which I didn't understand then. I still don't now. But there were partners. Some of the stuff came out on Metal Blade, some was Enigma, some came out on both. I never understood it, but it was Metal Blade. It was Brian Slagle.
All right, Rich, how about you?
I'm going with Martial Law for number 3.
Here we have the first break.
Which I do like. I think the songs are great. I wrote down this album is very like raw, power, and heavy. There's 4 songs, so Only the Strong Will Survive. You got Hatred Until Death, The Slow Start, and the start. I wrote down that's the start of like the vocal harmonies too with that one song. I like Execution. That might be my favorite. That first simple, catchy riff, and the title track too. So I like it. It's an EP, so that's why it comes in at number 3. And I think the next 2 obviously just offer more development, But it's cool for an EP. It's heavy.
They look like they've been hanging out with Exciter a little bit here, right?
I wrote down that when they started out like this, I wrote down like they're in the family with like old Armored Saint, first couple Armored Saints,
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Malice, Warrior, Vicious,
Little bit of Liege Lord too, you know.
Liege Lord, Hellstar, all those kind of bands. They're all in the family.
Yep. Oh yeah. And it's like kind of like amateurish as the album cover is. It's kind of
It's
cool.
cool.
What it
I
is.
love that kind of
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah,
man.
it's really
When I see those like hand drawn, looks like it could have been on some kid's cover of, the
Like a
brown
Ben
bag
Jack
cover of
person.
his
Yep. Ben
social
Jack.
studies book.
Yeah.
I'm like all in. Yeah, man, I love it. Bring it on.
That's what I was going to say for this album too. It's an awesomely cheesy album cover.
Yeah. And then you got the pictures of I love when you get I don't have mine,
it
but you
says
get the
here
pictures of
included.
the band,
Yeah.
and you were showing them inside that booklet, and you get like the bass player and he's got like a glove with no fingers on, he's playing with it, stuff like that. Just, I love that stuff. Totally 80s,
It's so early 80s metal, man. We all know that stuff. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Yep. All right,
Right.
John. You're
Well,
number three.
we're really varying. We were all on the same page here until this point. Because for me, I'm gonna go with my number three, Scarred for Life, their first full length. And again, I really like this record. I dig the intro. I think it sets a cool vibe, and then Scarred for Life comes in. It's got a nice traditional metal main riff and vibe to it. Losing My Mind is another good one. In the end, I think it's a great chorus. Bang them till they bleed. Here's another thing, right? Here's a good 80s sounding, song title. Very anthemic, very 80s title. Not sure what this means. My LAI, did I write that down correctly? 31568 slash take no prisoners. I dig this slow, doomy type intro there. Taking Your Chances is in a really cool mid-tempo one. And my favorite was Tomorrow Hides the Lies. I love the epic vibe to it, the slow and dark, the acoustic guitars and stuff like that. Totally dug that. But really, the first three here, there are my next three picks, my three, two, one. Any of these could be interchanged, but I'll explain why I put this one here when I move on to my other picks.
Okay. Well, I'm going to echo Rich. I'm going to go Martial Law as my number three. It's really good. It's just really short, and it's easily the most raw sounding of all of these. Not that that's a bad thing. I mean, Only the Strong Will Survive. Kick-ass old school metal ripper. Really like it. I think also that Mike Vescera hadn't yet really developed
Mhm.
like we would see him starting with the next album. He sounds great on here, but he would sound even better, I think, on the next album. And maybe that's due to the production. I don't really know. But the dueling guitars of Vitale and Mako are locked in on these couple of songs. I mean, Hatred and To Death is a great epic metal song. I like that you can hear the bass. I'm sure John
Mhm.
can appreciate that, right? Sometimes we always bitch about how a lot of
Yeah.
albums you don't hear the bass player at all. You can hear him on here. And I think, Viscera is just sounding angry and snarling, which is good. Execution is kind of almost near speed metal, right? And the title track is kind of goofy fun. It's chorus is kind of generic sounding, but I like it. It's good. Maybe that's why they redid the song all those years later because they felt it didn't have enough impact on here. I don't know, but this is really good. I know a lot of people who, that this is the ultimate obsession album, even though it's only a couple songs, but really good. It's raw, it's fiery and heavy, but it's my number three. So back to Joe.
All right. First of all, I just realized I screwed up. Some of the songs I mentioned for Methods of Madness were actually on Scarred for Life. So I have to back up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I mentioned Bang 'Em Till They Bleed and a couple other songs that were actually on Scarred for Life in my Methods of Madness talk. So anyway, I apologize for that. My notes are awful. My number two, which originally, before this exercise started, I was sure was going to be number one. So that's going to be Martial Law. Again, awesomely cheesy cover. I love it. So let me just back up in my timeline. When this came out, 1983, all right, these guys were from Shelton, Connecticut. This is before I was in Fates Warning. I was actually in a local cover band, playing up Accept, Priest Maiden, that kind of stuff in Shelton. So these guys were like local heroes to us. I knew them all just from going to a few shows, and they lived in the area. So I knew Bruce Vitale, I knew Mike, I knew Jay, the drummer. So like back in those days, we used to hang out outside their rehearsal spot and listen to them practice, and try to steal ideas of them. Like these guys were like local heroes at this time for me and my buddies at the time. So this album, I used to hold in reverence at this time. Hatred Unto Death. I mean, that was our anthem, and we loved that song. Every song on this album, EP, I should say, is good. So this album it comes from a different place than where I am now. These were icons to us at the time. Little 17-year-olds hanging outside the rehearsal space and couldn't wait to talk to Bruce. Hey, I talked to Bruce Vitale last night. He was awesome. So I just assumed before this started this was going to be number one, just because it holds those types of memories. I still love it. It's aged, I think, amazingly. The production stinks and it's cheesy, but I love it. I love these songs. It just brings back great memories of my youth, my little heavy metal kid youth when I was still in high school and discovering metal. But it's coming in number two, and I'll explain why it's not number one when I review my number one. But
So Joe, were Obsession really the first, and again, not really a major band, but the first kind of like breakthrough metal act from Connecticut?
in my era, yeah, there was some other bands in Connecticut before me that had put albums out on labels and major labels. But for my era and for my buddies at the time, they were the first. They were the heroes. Holy shit, they have an album out. They have an EP out. They're on Metal Blade. I mean, to us, it was a huge deal. And to rehearse in the same town, we rehearsed down the street from where they did. Like I said, they were heroes to us. We tried to sneak in because I was too young to even see them in the bars. But yeah, they were the first.
Just a couple years later, you guys in
Yeah.
Facebook were hitting already. So
Exactly.
too long,
But when this came out, I was just a little metal kid hanging out with all the little metal kids with our Saxon shirt on, and they were huge heroes to us.
That's cool.
In 83 is pretty, I didn't really realize how early that was. While you guys are talking, I'm going to look up, I mean, it's got to be early in the Metal Blade
Yeah.
catalog, right? One of the early Metal Blade releases. So 83 is pretty early, for stuff like this. So
Yep.
What were the compilations that Metal Blade put
Metal
out?
Massacre.
Were they ever on a Metal Massacre?
they
They
were
were
on,
on
I
all
think,
of
the
them, right?
second
I thought they
one
were.
when I was doing my research.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that they were on the second one or
It'd be the first or second. I meant to look
yeah.
that up. I forgot to.
Yeah.
And did they get any big tours? Did they open for
Metal
anybody?
Massacre 2.
Okay.
They were on Metal Massacre 2.
Yeah, that makes sense because I think Fate's Warning was on Metal Massacre 3 or 4. So
Yeah.
chronologically, that makes sense. I don't know if they got big tours. I don't think they really did. I
No?
could be wrong. We played with them. In fact, Fate's Warning and then played once we got going. Did play a few shows in New York and in tri-state area with them, which was pretty cool. But I don't know if they ever got any big tours.
And they were really early in Metal Blade, just to give you some perspective here. Metal Blade released Metal Massacre first, Bitch, Damnation Alley, Demon Flight, Metal Massacre 2, Warlord, Savage Grace, Dominatrix, the next Bitch, Metal Massacre 2, Armored Saint EP, and then the Obsession EP. So they were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, the 10th release on Metal Blade Records.
It was early.
Including the compilations and everything that they were putting out. So yeah, they were early in in Metal Blade's history there.
And I think that's why they hold this like kind of like real respected, almost legendary kind of status in the metal underground because of that. Because I think a lot of those bands that had early ties to the early Metal Blade days are kind of looked at that way as like, oh, they're one of the early metal acts. Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
You know, that kind of respect too was Kicks, because they never really broke until later, and they were around since 1981.
Mm-hmm.
First 3 records, self-titled, Cool Kids, and Midnight Dynamite, I think, was 1985. So they had that kind of level too.
Yeah. Early stuff.
Yep.
All right, Rich, you're number 2.
All right. I'm going with Scarred for Life. You showed the other cover from the other release, right, Pete?
Yeah.
This is out on Metal Mayhem Music. Which one's that?
This is an Interwound Recordings.
Okay. Yeah, that's got the cover on the other side.
Yeah, this is the reissue. Yeah, you have the original.
No, this was a reissue too, I think, wasn't it?
This is the original.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the
It
one
was
Pete
reissue.
has is the
Yeah, I had
original.
the original Enigma slash
Yeah.
Metal
So
Blade.
that so the original vinyls were on Enigma,
And
correct?
this is Enigma.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep, so is mine.
So were these pictures inside the vinyl or no? They're just on the CD?
There's
I got
no
no
inner
pictures inside, just
sleeve.
on the back. I got pictures.
Oh, okay. A little different than what's in the CD then.
Yeah, I just got a little plastic
Yeah,
little
same.
You know
sleeve.
what's interesting? If you go on Discogs and you look up this band for a fairly obscure band, these albums have had a million reissues
Oh,
worldwide,
really?
a ton, a
Uh-huh.
ton in
Interesting.
all different territories.
By the way, that album cover was done by Johannes, who did
That's
a number
correct.
of
Yep.
Fates Warning records, among other people who
Huh.
just passed away last
Just
year.
passed away. Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of got that color style with the blues, the light and the
Yeah,
dark blues, right?
yeah. Johannes was from Connecticut, so he did Fates Warning, Lee's Lord, Obsession. That's where he got his start.
Yeah, yeah,
So.
John, was it you that was talking about the glove, the guitar player that would wear the glove,
yeah.
with the fingers coming out? The bass player has it right there in the
Yeah,
picture.
that's what I said. It's always a bass player. He always has a glove with no fingers
Yeah.
But
on. That's a bass player, 80s bass player thing.
I
Yeah.
never did it. Come on, I never wore the gloves with no fingers.
So yeah, that's my number two. I really like this record a lot. I think it's very heavy. It's very kind of fast, up tempo, really catchy riffs on this record. Like each song has a catchy riff, like your traditional 80s metal, right? Riffing
Yeah.
happen. And I really like the spooky intro before the title track. I wrote down Winner Takes All. In the End is a slower song. Bang 'Em Till They Bleed is really aggressive. And two of my favorites are Take No Prisoners and Take Your Chances, which is that headbanger kind of fist in the air, right? Energy and spirit to that song.
Rich, are
So
you hearing a little bit of early Sabotage and Take No Prisoners?
yes,
Yeah, in the riff especially.
yes. Power of the
Yeah.
Night, Dungeons Are Calling,
Yeah, I think I
Sirens,
mentioned that too. Yeah, I heard
New
that too.
Vibe. Yeah, totally. So it's a cool album. It just doesn't have the variety of the next one, I think, which is a little more melodic too. So that's why this one comes in at number two for me.
All right. John?
Okay, number two is the EP for me. Joe, I love that story. And I think it captures sort of technically, I should have put this a little lower on the list because the production isn't as good. They haven't quite found their sound yet. Pete, I think you mentioned this, and I have this in my note that Vescera hasn't totally found his voice yet. But the reason why I love stuff like this is I often say I view this as sort of like an archaeological museum type of
Totally.
thing, right? Where you're sort of seeing, oh, there's an insert inside this. I didn't realize there's an insert in this one. You're sort of hearing like heavy metal. Joe, I think you said this, like young kids, young band trying to find their sound, trying to create heavy metal. I mean, this is 1983. So I just love this kind of stuff. Yeah, it's cheesy. Yeah, the cover looks like some high schooler drew it. The production isn't the greatest, but from like a historical thing, I love the innocence of the record, I guess is a way to say it. Bands of this era when they were creating heavy metal, there was a real you can feel the enthusiasm on it. You can feel the metal, on it, the early metal vibes. And so for that reason, I put it here at number two because I just love the vibes of it. This type of production, I love it. I mean, it's simple, but it has there's a certain atmosphere to a lot of this like early 80s metal stuff that I just really, really like. Uh, Only the Strong Will Survive. Great, straightforward, upbeat, trad metal. Hatred Unto Death. I love the grinding doom opening, the main riff and the sound effects. Great vocal harmonies in the verse. Just love the dark vibe of that one. The execution, is another heavy banger. Great lead lines, like some lead lines that he puts in between the first and second verse that I thought were great. Martial Law is a fantastic head banger. I love the main riff. Great chorus, great drum, massive. I think there's a spot in the song where he does like this big drum fill or something like, between the verses or after the chorus or something like that. And it ends with this big, like concert type ending. I love the play on words, Marshall amps, Martial Law. So yeah, it's great. But I had to put it at number two because unfortunately it's an EP. And they sort of don't somebody mentioned it, Rich. You might have said the Armored Saint comparison, which I
Yeah.
think is a good one. They don't re quite stay with this sound. They start sort of speeding up and going a little bit, moving away from this more straightforward new wave of British heavy metal type of sound. But I love this. I think somebody mentioned Warlord, Tyrant, bands
Yeah,
like that. It's got that vibe
yeah.
to them
Vicious
that
Rumors, Warrior.
yeah, exactly. Like, so I love that kind of thing. So number two for me, if this was a full length, it would have been my number one, but it lands here at number two for the vibes and this just the classic early 80s whole thing to it.
There you go. My number two is Scarred for Life, debut full length, 1986. I mean, for me, the top two are like pretty damn great albums. I think Mike is sounding more forceful on this album. He sounds pretty confident, and it's almost like that great metal voice really kind of arrived on this record. I mean, the title track is killer. Winner Takes All, super crunchy. The guitars, I mean, I like the production is much better than on the EP. I love In the End, which is kind of more of a mid-paced track, and Bang Until They Bleed is like speed metal, great. Probably my favorite riff on the album. It's just so good. Like I mentioned before, Take No Prisoners to me is like kind of sounds like early Sabotage meets Judas Priest. Really, really good stuff. And I really, really love Tomorrow Hides No Lies. Like I said earlier, I love when they do that more atmospheric,
Mhm.
melodic type thing. And Mike, I think, is showing some different sides to his voice, which is really good. It's almost kind of doomy in spots. Love it. Absolutely love it. Really great song. Great album. Could have easily been my number one, but my number one, I think, just a little bit better. So, all right, Joe, you're number one.
Okay, so by process of elimination, my number one is
Scarred for
Art
Life.
for Life with the Johannes cover. So to carry on from my little story of martial law when I was a little headbanging kid, but when this came out, I have been in Fates 20 for a couple of years now. So I listened to this one from kind of a different side. I wasn't the little fanboy. I was more of a colleague or a rival at this point with these guys. We'd play the same clubs. It was kind of a rival. We're on the same label. So when this came out, I had a different perspective of it. But and I liked it then. Don't get me wrong. We'd still go see him all the time, and we hung out and all that stuff. But listening to it now, I'm amazed how good this record is. I mean, I didn't realize until now how this album seriously kicks ass, in my opinion. The production is not great. It's cheesy, but I think it's perfect for these songs. It's just raw and heavy. I love the not so great production on it, if that makes any sense. It's just perfect. It's perfect for these guys. Every song is a banger on this record. Pete, Bang 'Em Till They Bleed. I think I mentioned that mistakenly for the last album. And that was a local classic live staple set. They were still playing covers in their set back in these days too, which is kind
Oh,
of
even around this time, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Especially when they played, bars. Back in the old days, you played two sets, and it was a long night, and they would be playing some covers. But "Bang Until They Bleed" was a staple. Great song, as you just mentioned. "Tomorrow Hides No Lies," great epic closer. That's the song that reminded me a little bit of a YNT tune.
It's got that kind of like "I Believe in You" kind of vibe
Yeah,
to it a little
exactly.
bit.
Yeah, and the guitar playing is fantastic. Jay and Bruce were great guitar players, Art, I should say. Um, Great guitar playing. I think they're really finding themselves on this record. It's still traditional metal, a little more polished. They were finding their way. It's probably the first time they really sat and wrote a whole album's worth of material. So I think that the growth is evident. Just a great. I was amazed how much, and doing this exercise, how much I love this record. It's really great. Stands up, I think, the test of time. Really great mid '80s traditional metal record. It's great, great.
Joe, did any of the guys in the original band, obviously, besides Mike, did any of them go on to do anything else?
No,
Yeah,
it's
I don't know.
crazy, right? And Bruce Vitale, he was like a legend around here growing up. A great guitar player, great dude. And I don't know why. I don't know what happened, or I don't know the backstory. But besides Mike, none of them ever did anything that I'm aware of. No,
That's
no.
a shame.
But so that's it. My number one. Love it. Great stuff. Heavy. There you go.
All right, cool. Rich, tell us a little bit about Methods of Madness.
Methods of Madness. So I was actually just looking at the credits here and stuff. These albums were produced by Obsession. I think the second two, right? Scar for Life and this one.
Wow.
I
And
think Brian Keane worked with him on this also.
Okay.
Yeah, so they worked. Yeah, so it was a co-production, Brian Keane and the band.
and even though this cover is terrible, the guy that actually designed it and shot it is known for amazing photography. It was Mark Weiss.
Mark Weiss. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until now.
Out
Yeah.
of all the great album covers he shot and designed and set up and everything, this is the only one that could be a dud, right?
What are some of the
could have
other
taken a
covers?
little bit from Hypnosis, right? And jazz it up a little bit. Yeah, it's just kind
Uh,
of quite looking.
What are some
yeah.
of his other covers? I don't recognize his name, but I'm sure I
Mark
know
Weiss.
Yeah.
He did it.
He was
Oh,
more known as a photographer than an
Yeah.
album artist.
Okay.
He did some
Yeah.
Fates Warning, Perfect
Everything.
Symphony. He did the photography.
Okay.
But
He did Bon Jovi Slippery When Wet, the original cover. He
Okay.
did Cinderella's first album cover.
yeah,
Twisted Sister, Stay Hungry.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah,
He's done a
yeah.
lot.
He did a lot of like the band photos for so many
yeah,
albums.
he
That-
did.
that-
He was a New Jersey guy. That's probably why he did so many of the bands you just mentioned, Jerome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. He's done some iconic, photo
Yeah.
shoots for bands.
Skid Row. He was big. He was big buddies with the Skid Row guys too.
Yeah. So, this is my number one because I think has a little more refinement than the first two, a little more melodic, a little more variety. And you can hear Mike's voice a little bit more too. It's a little more refined here, polished, and you can hear his melodic sense ability better than the first two. Still got the riffs and the choruses. I wrote down the songs Hard to the Core, those twin guitar leads, High Treason. Another song that's got that Armored Saint type of guitar riffing. I hear that again on this record. Killer Elite, you got those dramatic vocals and the up tempo. Desperate to Survive is a little slower, which is almost kind of balladish, right?
Yeah.
Really good singing, melodic guitar leads in the vocal. The title track and Always on the Run is a good mid-pace rocker. So I do like this album as much as probably Scarred for Life, but like I said, for those reasons, a little bit better production, a little bit, variety in the music, and you can hear more of Mike's vocal tone from the previous record. Definitely more than the first one. The first one, you really couldn't appreciate his tone. But by Scarred for Life and then definitely Methods of Madness, you can hear it really good on here. So
Yep.
that's my one.
Cool. John?
All right. For me, number one, like I said, Process of Elimination, Methods of Madness. The EP got number two for me for the vibes and because I just personally love that kind of thing. This got number one for me instead of Scarred for Life because I think that the production is a little bit better. I think the guitars sound great. It's got kind of a nice, warm but still powerful mix. And I just think that sounds like the band kind of land on their sound with this record. The intro is really cool. Foreplay, hard to the core. I liked High Treason, killer opening riff, great chorus. For the Love of Money, I like the acoustic, clean guitar type intro, the high screams in the chorus, uh, the cool melodic, just vibe to the whole song. Desperate to Survive is another cool one. I like the acoustic guitars and the melodic solos. Too Wild to Tame. So for me, it just comes in at number one for the production, for the songs for the band kind of sounding like they're really landing on what they want to do here. So yeah, number one for me, Methods of Madness.
Cool. Also my number one, obviously. All the same points you guys mentioned. I think to me, it just has the most memorable songs. Album sounds great. Mike is singing up a storm on here. The guitars are shredding. Just a lot of great stuff. Foreplay, Heart to the Core. I think Joe might have mentioned this. I get a little bit of early Queensryche, a little bit of Crimson Glory in some spots on here, especially with the way the guitar solos and the vocals are going. Really good. I love High Treason. For the Love of Money, really memorable. Killer Elite absolutely kicks ass, and Vescera is like wailing on the vocals. Just so good. Desperate to Survive, again, that moody kind of atmospheric thing. Absolutely love that. Too Wild to Tame, loads and loads of crunchorama on the riffs, which I absolutely love. I love the way the guitars sound on here. Um, yeah, this is really good. I think really the only song on here, which I think isn't up to snuff with the rest of them, is Panic in the Streets, which to me is okay, but a little on the generic side. But the rest of it, I think, is just great. And this is one of those bands I hear. Now here we are now that we're finished with the ranking. Like, why wasn't this band bigger? Right? They got
Yeah.
all the elements that so many other
Mhm.
bands that made it big around this time. It's
Yeah.
And they
but
were in some soundtracks too, weren't they? I saw it on their wiki.
Yes, they were
Yeah, and Rich,
on.
I remember you. Yeah, I remember you mentioning that with one of the other bands that we've covered in
I
this
think it was
series.
Malice, right? I think
Yeah,
Malice made it to a soundtrack.
yes, yeah,
yeah. So again, it's one of those things like you said, Pete. Why weren't they bigger? But
Yeah.
yeah. But by
Does
here,
anybody know if they had any promo videos? Because I don't remember seeing
I
anything on Hit
don't.
Max
I don't
Wall.
know. I don't remember seeing anything.
Joe, did they ever make one? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't know.
Hmm.
yeah, I don't remember seeing any, which is
Yeah.
strange because I mean, like Mike especially has got the look. So,
Mhm.
but as history would show, so after this album, the band kind of like falls apart. Mike goes and joins Loudness for a couple of albums and tours, and then he hooks up with Yngwie, and they don't circle back to Obsession. He did all sorts of, then he did some solo records and appeared on a bunch of things. I mean, he's been busy. If you look at his
Yeah.
discography, he's appeared on a ton of stuff. So,
He's you know what he's into? That Japanese band with a couple other. It's like a super
Yeah.
group. They're called Anti Metal, I think it's called.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Animetal. It's like the
Animetal.
Japanese animation stuff that he does, like soundtracks to the animation.
Uh-huh.
I don't get any of that, but yeah, he
But
does.
it's got other metal musicians with him playing
Yes.
with him. He's a singer with some other guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he's kept himself busy, and he also has a studio in Nashville. He produces bands and such.
cool. Yeah, great singer. Great singer.
Mhm.
So there you have it, everybody. Our ranking the albums of Obsession. If you're familiar with this catalog, rank them as you like them down in the comments below. And if you haven't checked out any of the albums or maybe haven't checked out the more recent ones, go listen, come back, let us know what you think. Put your comments down below. We'll be interested to see how folks rate this catalog. And it's interesting how we had the first two in the same spot and then it kind of deviated a little bit. But then like Rich and John and I kind of circled back with the same at the top, but Joe wasn't far behind. And really, like I said, I had a feeling we might be a little different with the original trio of albums. But I think the point is that those first three are pretty damn special. But really strong catalog, I think. And I'm glad because I never listened to this band back in the day, so I'm really happy that I jumped on board even at a much later time. So very cool. So why don't everybody get us caught up on things you're doing on your channels and music and things like that. So Joe, I know you've got Withering Scorn is right around the corner, correct? And I think
Yeah, we are in the we're just finishing up mixing it, and Max Norman is helping us, and he's actually going to do the mastering too, the legendary Max Norman.
wow.
Unfortunately, we had some label issues.
Uh-oh.
Frontiers dropped us because God knows why they did nothing for their first one. So um, that's a story for another day. But we are actually ended up self-releasing this,
Okay.
which is fine. We just got the artwork this morning, which is a killer. I'm really happy with the artwork we just got. So yeah, Max is going to start doing the mastering in a week or so, and hopefully we'll have it out. None of us have ever self-released an album before, so I'm not sure the time frame of when it's actually going to be out. But we're doing vinyl. That was one of the main things we wanted because everybody's just going to steal it off the internet anyway. But at least we put some vinyl out, and the collector type people and the real fans will go out and buy the vinyl at least. that's one of the things we weren't happy with Frontiers about. They wouldn't put it out on vinyl. So we're doing that. So that's going well. Not the direction we wanted to go, but this industry sucks right now. Record companies just, I don't get it because it's going to be, you'll hear it when it comes out. It's a quality record and it is what it is. So it's going to be out. People will be able to hear it.
Okay.
As far as Lee's Lord, I just did a couple shows with them last weekend.
How did the big Brooklyn festival go?
Yeah, it was excellent. And I got to see Jag Panzer for the first time in about 40 years and hung out with Mark for a little bit, and they were great. That their first full-length LP is still one of the more classic metal LPs of all time, if you ask me.
Did you ever rank them? Did you ever do those guys? Are they on our list now?
They're on the list, yeah.
My problem with them is I don't think I've ever heard anything after that first.
They have a lot of albums too.
They do. A lot of different lineups, but they had the original singer back, Harry. So it was a great show. And so that's wrapped up, and we're not doing anything until March. We're doing a couple of festivals in Europe and Czech Republic and Poland in March. So that'll be cool. Sortilege is on a couple of those shows, so that'll be. I haven't heard Sortilege in ages.
Wow.
See them, and like I mentioned, I'm doing this Cornell cover thing. We just kind of started doing for fun, so it's all keeping me busy.
Cool, that's good. And you mentioned, I think the last time you were on, that Liege Lord is looking to maybe do something as well, like a new record or.
Yeah, they have. I've been hearing this since I've been back with them that they have a whole album's worth of songs written.
Okay.
We're playing 2 of them in our live set, but I've yet to hear the rest of them. And they keep saying we're going to record them and put it out, but
okay,
it remains to be seen when that's going to happen.
Okay, well, we look forward to that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Rich, what's going on with you? We have another show next week, don't we?
Yeah, for the new wave of traditional heavy metal.
Yeah.
Three new albums to talk about, right?
Yep. We'll be we're going to kind of shift the focus a little bit on the show and try and really hit on the new releases that are coming out. So next week we'll be talking about the new ones from Helm's Deep, Burning Witches.
Burning Witches, yeah.
And what's the third one, Rich?
Haunt.
Haunt, the new Haunt, yes.
Haunt's great.
Yeah. So we're talking about that. And what else is happening over with you? Brave Words and Metal Asylum and so on and so forth.
2 most recent reviews I did were the new Halloween. And for you thrash fans, did you ever hear the band called Void?
Huh. I can't believe you just mentioned that. I was actually going to mention that when you were talking about the 3 bands you were talking about next week.
Yeah, we should talk about them on a
great record. Great record. They're really good guys, to the young. We did a festival in, I don't know, Texas or Oklahoma somewhere, and they were on the bill. And they're all like early 20s, just, all in their metal gear like it was 1980 something.
Yeah.
Guys, great, really good guys. And the album's great. I just listened to it yesterday, in fact.
They're on tour with Dark Angel, Sacred Reich, and Hyrax, too.
That's a good tour.
Yeah, tour right now, yeah. So
really good guys.
So
good kids, really.
Cool. They got a really cool video, too. They're very theatrical, so check
Yeah.
out their music videos. Very cool. So I reviewed those 2 records, but for those of you that are on the East Coast, there's a whole bunch of shows coming up. If anybody wants to know, you got Bruce Dickinson out there. He's going to be in New York or Brooklyn. I'm going to try and do that next week. Michael Schenker, anybody going to see him? He's going to be out there. You got Judas Priest and Alice Cooper at the PNC Arts Center at the end of September coming up.
Corrosion of Conformity. Yep.
What's that?
Corrosion of Conformity.
Oh, they're on there too?
Yep.
Oh, okay. And then the 29th of September, you got Symphony X in New Jersey. They're going to be in Red Bank. Are you going to that, Pete?
No, I was gonna go, but they're playing the same set that I've seen them the last 2 or 3 times. I'm like,
I know.
they put out something new and they mix things up, I'll go see them again. I don't need the same show again.
And the week after that is Tom Kiefer and LA Guns at the Carteret Pack, October 3rd. So a lot of good metal shows coming up.
Rich, are you going to the Newton, New Jersey MSG show?
Let me see. This is that Sellersville?
Oh, you're going to the Pennsylvania show. No, I'm going to the Jersey show in Newton, wherever the hell that is.
Okay, that's really far south.
For you, I think. Well, I don't know. See, my brother said it was closer than going to the Connecticut show for him. So I think it's an hour drive for him, and he lives right down the street from you. So
yeah, that's on a Saturday, I think, right?
Saturday, yeah.
This one's I got to see which one I'm going to do. I'm going to do one of the 2.
You should go to the Jersey show.
Yeah, I'm going to try and do that.
You can get a ride with him because I'm meeting him there. Yeah,
right.
reach out to my brother. Yeah, you guys should go together.
And who's singing for him? Is it Robin McCauley?
I don't know. I heard it was some unknown guy, but it's
Yeah.
not the ex-Heat dude.
It's not Eric Grondwell. I know. I'm so
No, I was so disappointed when I heard he wasn't
disappointed.
singing with them. Oh man.
I love it. You're in the Heat rabbit hole. It's awesome.
Yeah. I've been watching all these clips of him singing for Schenker over in Europe. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be
I
great. And
know.
then
I'm
some
so
one of our viewers was saying, oh, he's not doing the US tour. I'm like, oh man.
yeah.
Oh well.
Okay.
John, how about you? What's going on over at the Lair of the Alchemist?
Talking all things metal and hard rock. Still doing my Sabbath podcast, Into the Void of Black Sabbath podcast. My AC/DC podcast that I do with Sea of Tranquility, favorite Martin Popoff, Kicked in the Teeth, an AC/DC podcast, and my Iron Maiden podcast, A Pod Somewhere in Time. So,
Hmm.
You guys are keeping busy, man, which is good. All right, what do we got coming up here? Well, let's talk ranking the album show. So next week I'll have Grant Arthur back on here with me. We will be ranking the albums of Trillion, great late 70s kind of pop rock band. Released two albums back in the day, one in more recent times. So we'll be ranking the albums of Trillion. We've got some bands on the agenda for either all of us or some of us coming up. We've got Agents of Steel, we've got Vicious Rumors, we've got Virgin Steel,
Double
Richard
star.
Hellstar. We've been waiting on Vicious Rumors and Hellstar because they have new albums coming out. So the Vicious Rumors album is out. It just came out last week. The Hellstar is coming out, I believe, sometime in September. So we'll get to them sometime later this year.
Mhm.
And then Rich and I are going to be doing Heat. I think Stephen Reed is going to join us on that one. So we'll have to figure out when to do that. I've been immersing myself in that catalog. So if you like kind of like Swedish melodic rock type of thing, great band. And yeah, all sorts of other stuff on the ranking the album schedule. So more to come. And yeah, visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram all the damn time. Stay tuned for Hudson Valley Squares coming up tomorrow. We will be talking about our favorite hard rock and metal bands from Sweden. That's the topic on Monday. Tuesday is in the prog seat. We're going to be ranking 5 epic songs and doing a whole kind of like epic song battle. So for those of you who love stuff like Gates of Delirium by Yes and Supper's Ready by Genesis, those are just two of the ones that are in the episode, along with Cygnus 1, Book 2, Hemispheres, and we've got a song from Caravan and one other one that I'm blanking. Oh, and Tarkus by Emerson Lake and Palmer. So that's coming up on Tuesday, and all sorts of other stuff happening during the week. So till then, for Joe DiBiase, Rich Catino, and John Gaffney, I'm Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching us here on Ranking the Albums of Obsession. Go check them out. We'll see you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.